Okay, hi Scott.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going well. I'm actually having a nice break over Christmas.
Very good. So, if you can you just start by telling everybody exactly what it is that you do now, and it won't have much to do with what we're actually going to talk about, but it's good for people to know what it is you do now. Just tell us briefly, because we'll cover it when I ask
Yeah.
you to go through the story.
In terms of my day job,
Yeah, what's your day
um,
job?
so for the past 10 years or so, I've been doing marketing as my 9 to 5 day job. Started as a marketing apprentice, and and now I'm a marketing manager for a local business.
Good, very good. So, the way that I came across you, and the reason that I've got you on the podcast, so you've decided to take on. You can tell me if I get any of this wrong. So you've decided to take on. So you bought a new house, and you're taking on as a DIYer, basically, building an extension by yourself as a DIYer. So,
Yes.
do you want to explain a lot? Just explain why you're doing that.
Yeah, for sure.
So why did you decide to take it on?
I think this is it's a bit of a deeper story, and one that I haven't been able to share on any other platform, just because of the nature of how long it is and what the details are. Um, but in essence, I moved out when I was 20 odd, and I moved into a rented accommodation, and I did bits of DIY to that property, with obviously the owner's consent, and it was a worthwhile thing for us both. They got a that all the little jobs were sorted, and I got things done quickly, and it just financially worked out better as well. So I kind of learned a lot for the DIY there, and then and I learned a lot from my dad as well. But then it was when the pandemic hit and the property prices went through the roof. The person who I was renting the other property off wanted to sell. Me and my girlfriend needed somewhere to live. So we quickly had to find somewhere. And anyone that was trying to buy a house in 2022 will know, 2020 will know just how crazy the prices have been. So anyway, we searched and eventually we found one. Probably a week later, after having our offer accepted, we found out that my girlfriend was pregnant. And normally that would be like, oh, thank the Lord, we found somewhere to live and we've got, a baby on the way. But we'd actually bought a renovation home, and it was a big renovation project as well. It was, everything needed changing, everything. And we didn't really have the money to change everything either. If she wasn't pregnant, then we might have been able to live with it in some ways, the way that it was. But we knew we needed to change things and change them fast. So I just decided, well, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do what I can. Tradesmen were scarce, expensive and scarce at the time. So I'm just going to do things. And if people don't turn up on time, I'm just going to do it anyway and make the best job that I can. So that's how it started. And we moved in, and I started on the house, the bedrooms, the bathroom, got the main things sorted. And eventually I built a salon in the garden, and that's kind of where the building started, which is a crazy thing to do anyway. And the experience from that salon build, I kind of thought to myself, well, I built something that's kind of like an extension to a house, so it can't be that difficult to take the next step, can it? And to be honest, getting the confidence to take on the project, it was literally one step at a time. I just kind of thought, okay, I'll just do this bit, and then maybe I'll get a professional in to just finish it off.
Okay, so if we rewind a little bit, so you bought a house and knowing that you were going to have to do it up, which is probably that's the best way to buy a house. So you won't overpay that way. So at the point of buying it, you weren't aware that your missus was pregnant, so you were just gonna do what you needed to do as it needed doing, which is great. That's the way that you'll add value
Yeah.
to your house. What's a salon? What do you mean a salon?
So yeah, salon's a bit out there, and to be honest, that was the first video I ever posted on TikTok, and I never really meant to start TikTok. Not really. It was more of, and I'll explain more about that. But the salon in the garden is essentially a place for my girlfriend to run her business. It's a building that allows her to just basically have her friends and family around to do eyelashes and eyebrows and things like that. And it was an important thing for us. We needed it because we knew that in the future it's going to be a source of income. You know, everyone needs money to pay for renovations. So we knew that, you know, if we didn't have the cash flow, we wouldn't have the renovation. So therefore, we would just be stuck in the mud. So it was important to get that done. And so I did.
And you're still doing your 9 to 5 while all this is going on?
100%, yeah. Yeah.
So your 9 to 5, so I guess that you're getting home from work, and you originally were doing all the, I don't know, whatever else you were doing throughout the house, building a salon. What is it, a brick building?
Yeah, it's a brick. If you check the TikTok account, you'll see it is a full brick building with a pitched tiled roof. Essentially, it's an extension, only it's a single skin. And basically, it matches the exact design and materials of the garage that's currently built there, which is brick and pitched. Because what I wanted was, I wanted to add to the garage, but not make it look like a new building. I wanted to match so that it was in keeping. Yeah, and I think I achieved that.
Very good. So you mentioned TikTok. So this is the real reason you're on. Really, this is the reason why I found you. You started keeping a diary of what, obviously the salon, which I haven't seen, but I saw the extension, and you kept a diary on TikTok, which is interesting to me, and we'll talk about it a little bit more about the community that you've built there on TikTok. So you built the salon. You were always working in the house whenever you had the time, after work, weekends.
Yeah, so I have this 6-month deadline because of my girlfriend being pregnant, which was whittled away by the whole buying of the house process. So it turned out to be more like 5 months. And I was working non-stop.
Yeah.
If I was awake, I was working on the house.
Yeah.
And anybody that's in this trade, project managers, anyone that's in this trade, or anyone who does house renovations knows that there's a lot of other things to do other than just doing the work. Like, for example, buying the materials.
Yeah.
Buy the materials is a long and lengthy process, especially if you don't actually know what materials to buy. You've never done it before. You know, where do you get it from? What is that thing called that connects that thing to another? So it was literally, I've never worked so hard in my life, at that point, to get everything done.
Yeah.
All on the run up to Christmas 2021, which is when my son, my first child, my son was born. And yeah, so we got the majority of things complete in the house. The salon was still being built, the bathrooms, the bedrooms, my office where I'm sat now, and the living room were done by that point.
So you have zero experience other than what you've done. I guess similar to me or similar to any DIY type person, really. You've tried things in the past. So you were looking. I'm always jumping to this extension because this is the big thing that
Yeah,
like
of course,
a,
of
a,
course.
a normal person wouldn't take that on. I've done so. The thing that you've just explained, I can totally relate because we renovated this house. But when we renovated this house, which is a good few years ago now, we didn't live in it. So we basically we rented somewhere else for a little barn somewhere. We lived with the missus' parents for a little bit, however long we could bear that one. So we didn't even
Yeah,
live here. But similar to you, even though I don't think I was doing as much of the difficult stuff as you, I was the same. So straight
amazing.
from work, but it was a lot of arranging, like other trades.
Yeah,
So which is a bit different to what you did because you just did everything,
still
which
time
is
consuming.
which is fascinating to me. Well, I was doing like the basic stuff, like rip outs or things that were possible to do, but it's still you're right. It's still a lot of work. So yeah, so when you started your extension, so we'll get to TikTok because that's the thing that interests me more than anything about all of this.
You're
But so before you started documenting it on TikTok, I guess you were needing to look for like how do I do this? Where do I start? Where did you start?
Yeah, so I contacted a few local builders and got some quotes for the work. Quickly realised that I didn't have the money to do what I needed to do. So I thought I'll take a look on YouTube. YouTube has all the answers these days. So I started watching loads of videos. My girlfriend sat on the sofa and at night watching whatever she wants on TV. I'll be listening to YouTube videos about bricklaying, about plumbing, about tiling a roof, cutting roof rafters. Jesus, I watched so many of those. But then once I had an understanding of, what people do in real life, what builders are doing, how they're doing it, watching them do it, that's when I then thought, okay, let's have a look at the regs, the NHBC regs. So just to see what standards I have to conform to make this work. And can I understand the regs? Can I work my way through them? Well, yeah, I think they're quite simply laid out online, so anyone could get your head into them if you really wanted to. And then once you can piece the regs with the doing, the physical, cutting, placing, screwing, that type of stuff, then you're well on the way. And I think one safety blanket that I got was this CPR, which is like a private building control. And I knew that if I had somebody like that on board, and I could just ring them and ask them questions if I needed to, and also they'll come out and sign off each part of the process, so I know it's done well. And at the end, I get a certificate that anybody else buys this property in the future, that it isn't just a cowboy's job; it's a professional thing.
I think you made it sound easier than it possibly was. So if someone's listening and they're like, right, I'm going to watch Scott's TikTok, I'm going to build my own extension. So you got a quote from a builder, or did you get a couple of quotes, or did you just speak to builders? And so you got actual quotes?
Well, they were like estimated quotes, not written.
Yeah, and did they give you any clues as to, right, I need to do this, and this is where I need to start?
No, not really.
This is what I mean. So if someone wants to do it, obviously Google it, watch loads of YouTube videos,
Yeah.
but I think the daunting thing and the most scary part of it, to me anyway, is where the fuck do you start? Like, what's the first thing that they need to do to make sure everything's going to be okay?
There's points in this project where I could have cried. I'm not joking. It's been a whirlwind of emotion, ups and downs, because you start something and you don't fully know at that point, is this the thing I need to do to move on to the next stage? What happens if my footings aren't deep enough, for example, or wide enough? And that's your first point. That's your first start, isn't it? You've got to think, well, if I'm working from the ground up, then
Yeah.
I need to look at what goes into the ground of footings, and
Yeah.
and then carry on from there all the way up. But there's silly things, there's really silly things like, and once you've got your footings and you've got a solid, concrete base to work from, what type of concrete block do you put on that footing? And in terms of the density and the size, and what happens if for some reason your corner isn't perfectly 90 on the base? It literally you start and you're like, Jesus, I've got this far, I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But then you've just got to work through it, and after a while, and this is a crazy feeling, but after a while, you start saying to yourself, "Oh, I didn't know what I was doing before, but that worked. So this probably will work as well."
Yeah. And so the person that you mentioned that you had a number, is that like for every step along the way? So you can call that guy and say, "Is this going to be signed off?"
Yeah. Well, I know one builder, one bricklayer is an acquaintance, and one this CPR, right, which is the company I'm paying for to sign the project off. The builder I know is an acquaintance is almost incontactable. He's so busy all the time, especially at the time I was building mine. Could I get him on the phone? No chance. But the thought of having him there to be able to call was a nice thing. The bricklayer who I knew didn't know anything about building per se, but did know how to lay bricks like a pro, like a real pro.
Yeah.
And then obviously the building regs guys, they're the ones that are just, you can literally just call them up and speak to your representative. I spoke to a guy called Tim, and it was so helpful. So helpful.
So that's what got you started, and I guess all that's before TikTok, yeah. So you were doing a bit of research. You had a couple of contacts with regards, am I actually doing this right?
Right.
But then obviously this is where actually this isn't where I found you when you were already far gone on TikTok, and obviously I went back and watched all the earlier videos. So then you started documenting it on TikTok. So initially, I guess your first videos were, look, I've just built some footings for this extension and I'm going to do this. What kind was that a brand new account when you started it?
Yeah. So I, as a marketing manager, I'm responsible for building social media accounts for the companies that I work for. And I've done it quite a few times, but I've never built a TikTok account for a business before. So, I thought to myself, well, I built this extension I built this salon. So I've got all this content just sitting there. I need to learn how to use this platform. So I'm just going to start uploading videos and learn how to use it, because it'll help me in my day job. But also, it's a real nice journal for me to look back on of all the work and hours that I've put in, and see it all from that perspective. So that's how it started. It never was supposed to be me gaining followers and views and what have you.
Mm.
And I think that's why people like it, because it's quite authentic. It's just me sharing.
So you were using it as a little bit of research work-wise, your actual job.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you needed to look into anyway. But also it's actually is a handy place for you to document all this stuff. So what actually happened is you ended up with quite a few followers and quite a nice community. So did you get this traction straight away, or was there a particular video that did it?
The very first video went viral, which is insane. And I can only put that down to the audio that I used. I can remember I I was on my lunch from work, and I had to drive to Asda to get a sandwich, and I just thought, oh, quickly upload this video. All I need is an audio, so I literally just pieced a bit of content together, and then search for an audio, and this piece of audio just come up, and I thought, wow, that's perfect. Posted it, and my phone was going off, like,
Yeah.
just crazy.
Yeah.
And that got 500,000 views, just from the first one. And I thought that was viral. I thought that was like, that's it, I'm made. But things have escalated since then as well.
Yeah. It's weird. TikTok is it's got the ability to get you that many views overnight, and then you'll do a similar video and it'll be 20. But to be fair, you've got a lot of followers now, so I bet a lot of your videos do get a lot of views. Whereas I'm looking at it from a point of view of someone who doesn't have a shitload of followers, but sometimes your video does really well, and sometimes it doesn't. But I think this is where you've done what you've created, and I think TikTok keeps changing all the time. So initially, when it came out, it was very short videos, and I've discussed it on a previous podcast with someone else. Where everybody's making a fucking music video, or they were, which is like, why? But because that's what was getting views. But I think what you're getting now is, and what you've created is different ways of using TikTok, and you've created your little community.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons I loved it so much is because your videos are your videos, and they're really good, and you talk well, and you explain what you're doing well, and you're not this guy with 20 or 30 years experience, but what you've got in the comments is, and I think you've probably done this over time, but you can tell me, there's a nice community of people that they're either helping you and actually speaking to you in a nice and civil way, which is, there's a lot to be said for that in text format on the internet, being civil. You don't really see you don't really see it. So you've got people with experience who are willing to help you, and then people who are actually now less experienced than you asking you for help. So did you get
crazy.
That immediately? Because that little community that you've created is the main reason why I've been following it, because I love it. Because like I've said plenty of times on this podcast, but one of my biggest bugbears is people being mean on the internet, because there's absolutely no need for it, and especially within groups and communities when there'll be a builder or a tiler or whatever, a trades person of some description asking for help, and then someone with experience will jump in and they'll fucking laugh at them or slag them off or tell them to do. And I've always been like, why don't you just help this person? They've posted in your group and in your community. Help them out. Be fucking nice to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you did it. I don't think you did it on purpose, but like I say, within your TikTok comments is a community now of people who are like, they've got your back, they're helping you out, they're being nice to each other, and it's really great. So did you get that straight away, or did you get a lot of what I've just explained, which can happen in this world of people being arseholes, basically?
Well, I'd say that my experience of the trade or DIY pro, whatever you want to call it, multi-skill people community, there's a lot of negativity out there, negative against other people's work, even if someone's trying their best. And I can't say I got a lot of that from the beginning, and I think the only reason for that was I wasn't coming into the conversation as, hi guys, I'm a pro, check this out, what I'm doing, you should be doing the same. I literally started the conversation with, hi guys, I don't know anything right now. I'm just starting out. I'm giving it a go. I'm learning what I can. Any help or advice you can give me would be great. And then I noticed a lot of positivity straight away from that. I got the odd negative comment, which grew. The negative comments grew because my videos started getting more views, so I started getting more and more negative comments. But I think it's just proportion. So then I started replying to the negative comments. I had some my friends or family or whatever saying, "Oh, how can you put up with that? I wouldn't stand for a comment like that after the effort you've put in." to make this happen. Now let's go back and just ask the person, can you explain more? You've clearly been in the industry longer than me. Why do you think it's so bad? And once I got talking to these maybe trolls, you might want to call them, they just bring it down straight away and then start saying, well, actually, mate, a 10 out of 10 for the effort you've put in. It's just that's not the way to do it on site, or that's not this, that's not that. And then they explain why, and then it becomes less negative and more positive.
Yeah, I don't even think it's trolls. And so I think most people now, of all ages, they can pretty much deal with trolls. They know it's a troll. They know it's just someone winding people up or being a bully for no reason. I think in the trade world, what it is, we talked about it earlier on, I think. What I can never get my head around someone, if you're so experienced and so much better, or you think you're so much better than what you're looking at, why not just help the person that you're commenting on their post, or just don't comment at all? And I honestly don't know where it comes from. It's like I don't know. It's a meanness. So you get it a lot on Facebook. Apart from, and this is the only thing I like about Facebook, right, is the groups.
Okay.
So that there's various little groups on Facebook. Some of them are better than others. So you get nice communities of people, and they do help each other out. When it's open, as in the other part of Facebook, that's like the internet part of Facebook, it's so toxic. It's unbelievable. And one of the things that attracted me to your TikTok, and not just you, but other people who are doing things like this and creating little communities where everybody's actually nice to each other.
Yeah.
Is because I think, and I said this to you earlier as well, individual people just doing what you do. You're not like trying to change the world or anything. You're just doing what you do, and you're being nice to people. And as you've just explained, even if someone comes across as a bit of a troll, you're giving them the opportunity, because you're then going back to them and saying, do you want to talk about the thing that basically
you just said?
Yeah. It seems this is what I mean by being civil with communicating by text. It's very difficult, difficult, because you could have just flipped at that guy and said, you're an arsehole, blah, whatever, and then you get an argument, and he either leaves your little thing or carries on continuing giving you shit. But what you've done is you've spoken to him, and actually, from what you've just said, is actually not turned it completely around, but said like, look, I have got experience and I can help.
Yeah.
So the more individuals like yourself that do that with people who might come across like a troll, but they're not being a troll. I don't know. I just think the internet itself is toxic, and people are very quick to, like the laughing emoji on Facebook is the worst fucking idea ever.
Yeah.
Because it gives people the opportunity to look at something and immediately start taking the piss just by clicking an emoji. But with people like yourself, actually one person at a time, so you speaking to this other guy, actually communicating with him proper communication, it's actually creating a little community. So you've turned that guy, he'll start being nice to somebody else, somebody starts being nice to someone else.
It's crazy.
I don't know if it's possible on Facebook itself, but just those nice little interactions, and this is bringing it back to like the thing that I hate the most about the internet is just people being mean to each other, because there's absolutely no need for it. Sorry, go on.
No, I'd just say most of the time on my videos, I'll give you a prime example. Someone might comment just a completely random negative comment, which is, that is pure shit, and that's it. You might just say it's pure shit, and I'll then have to. So okay, why is it? My brain just goes. It doesn't go into defensive anger, anything like that. My brain just says, why? Why is it? I need to understand why. So I'll message them back, and most of the time, if they do write back, we'll end up talking, and then I'll have them, and then we'll talk via DMs. And a lot of the time, I know this is crazy, but the people who are saying negative things have formed a lot of my community, because we've spoke, we've not built a friendship, but we built this community, this connection, a bit of a relationship, and they know what I'm trying to do. And yeah, so maybe my community is made up with a lot of people that at first had a lot of negative things to say.
Yeah, it comes across as negative. That's what I mean. They're not they're not bad
No,
people. You
no,
do
they're
get
not.
bad people, but I think a lot of people know that's a troll now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
a lot
well,
of
I mean,
people can figure it out quickly. But what I'm saying, especially in the trades, and it might
sometimes
be,
they're right. Let's just
yeah,
say
yeah, of course.
sometimes they're right.
But
I did it.
it's the way that they communicate, and
Yeah,
it's like
yeah,
if you're fine, you like your personality because you can like, oh, I wonder what he means. I'll ask him.
yeah,
But within a trade group, if you're so I deal with a lot of people with 30 years experience and then people with zero experience. You might be actually, because you're coming out of, you're not coming from within the trade, so you haven't got like that. There is a bit of a macho piss takey, and
yeah,
they all kind of think that they have to be that way. So if someone's new and they build up the courage to say, I'll talk about tilers because that's the world I work in at the moment. So they post I don't know, a bathroom install or whatever, and then somebody with 30 years experience jumps in, and I know what you mean. They might be right,
yeah,
but if they jump in and say that's shit, that looks shit, that's stupid, why have you done it that way? That they've just ruined that person's career possibly, because
for sure. Yeah,
he won't think like you, and he'll either kick off and then they'll have an argument online, or he'll disappear, and
his
you might never see him
self-confidence.
online again. Yeah,
Yeah, that
and
self-confidence is destroyed. It's so easy to.
this
It's
is what
so
I
easy
mean.
to destroy people's confidence
It's
sometimes.
exactly what I mean. That's social media now is a little bit like that's the world. So it's almost
Yeah,
reality. So he's sharing his work on social media. It's in his world now, and in most people's world, that person ripping him to pieces by laughing is the worst fucking one. Laughing at him.
yeah.
It's he might never
I know.
he might never venture back into that group again, which actually could be very supportive
Yeah.
and could help him progress his career, him or her. But this is what I mean. So you're fine because your inquisitive mind thinking about it. Oh, I wonder what he means. I'll ask him. This other guy, he's either gonna disappear completely. You'll never see him again, and that's not
Okay.
helping his career because the way the world now is, he might only have one other person who he can ask questions to, or nobody at all. He might have just been on a trade course, and the only people he can ask is this social media group, and his first experience of it is somebody who's probably way more experienced than him laughing at him.
Ah, it's horrible.
So he's not going to go back. So this is what I mean, like by individuals like yourself creating little communities where people just one person at a time start understanding that if you're just nice to that person in the first instance,
Yeah.
and you can say to him, I can see what you're doing, and I've done that before myself. Do you want me to DM you some examples or whatever, or speak to him in a civil way? And it's getting there. And
It's
this is what I mean. So social media it's breaking off into communities and groups. So
yeah.
within Facebook, there's groups. Some of them are bad, some of them aren't bad, and it's people are realizing that actually we can be nice to each other. We don't
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah.
constantly fucking horrible to each other, which a
Well, it's
lot of the
funny
internet
because
still is.
like I said to you at the beginning of this podcast, I created the TikTok account just to journal the stuff that I was doing, and the community is an amazing thing that's come from it. And it's now that I'm starting to get this community that I'm thinking to myself, well, there's a lot of people here, and I mean a lot of people who are commenting on my videos saying, I really need to do X, Y, and Z to my property, but don't have the confidence that you've got, or don't have the time. And what I want to do is I want to break down those two things, confidence and time, and put it into perspective. How are you really using your time? Because there are some people out there that don't get me wrong. And this confidence is something that needs to be built over time. I understand that as well. But hopefully my content in this group, this community that I've created, I can help people build the confidence by showing them that I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm giving it a go and it's working, and you can ask me questions. And in terms of time, I work a 9 to 5 job. You know, I have a 1 year old now. He's one. My son, who I want nothing more in my life than to spend time with my son, because it's a beautiful thing to be a father. Um, you know, but there's priorities in life, isn't there? You know, the things that you've got to do. I've got to make the house nice for my family. You know, and not to forget my girlfriend. You know, she needs time all over about, you know, with just me and her as well. So there's a lot of holes on my time, and it's just about how you break it up and what you prioritize in life.
Yeah, it's a good question actually. How do you find the time? What do you do? So
Yeah,
do
it's good.
you plan it out? Do you just do what you can every time you finish work, or how do you do it?
I have found planning my time out extremely, extremely overwhelming. So I can't do it. And I know that sounds ridiculous. Everyone always says, oh yeah, you've got to plan. If you don't plan, you're planning to fail. But if I look at the day ahead and all the things that I've got to do and put it into time slots, I'll do this, that, and that, and the other, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So, you know, I might wake up really early. You know, my girlfriend will wake up really early because my son's woke up at 5 a.m. And that means I've got a few hours before I start at my day job to maybe source some materials. And maybe if I could go get some quotes, you know, go to different websites, buy some quotes for materials. And then obviously I'm into the day at work. I've got an hour's lunchtime. Depending on what my priority is that day, it's an hour's lunchtime is to create a TikTok video. I've got an hour and it's focus. You know, sit down in your car, smash a sandwich and down you whilst you're creating a TikTok video, and then back into work, finish off the day, and then evening, especially in the summer. And I rely heavily on my girlfriend to look after Sydney, our son, whilst I'm doing something to the house, building anything, fixing something, picking up materials, anything really, anything. And that's it. And then the weekends, and this is a prime example. When I was doing the salon, it was a bank holiday. I think it was a Monday and a Friday off. The weather was beautiful, and all of my friends were out doing things, drinking, or just having a fun time doing something. My girlfriend's friends were taking their kids to, you know, sea life or beautiful, you know, nice places to go with family. And I knew I had 4 days. If I didn't complete the roof in 4 days, because I knew the weather was going to be good as well, I'd be back in work for the week. And all the you know, I needed to get the felt on, I needed to get the tilers on, I needed to get the salon waterproof in that time. I had no other choice but to just do it. And so I was waking up 7 a.m. Well, maybe earlier than that, but I was out in the garden by 7:30, and I work until the sunlight goes. And I was brutally tired. Where does the motivation come from? I don't know.
Where does it come from? It's a good question.
So
Everything that you've just explained, right? I try and relate it to myself. I would do absolutely nothing in the morning. So certainly wouldn't wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm fucking awful in the morning. But what I tend to do is a little bit like you. I won't plan it out as well. That'd be I kind of know what needs doing, but I haven't planned it out as well. But what I similar to what you've just said, when it needs doing and when it's like this needs to be done, that's when I'll get it done, and I'll just keep fucking going until it's done.
Just keep doing it.
But so and it's quite easy, and I'm not, listen, mate, I've got a feeling that you're working a lot harder than I ever did, but it's quite easy to not do stuff. I mean, I've got something that I'm working on now, and I've been working on it for months, right? Months and months, and I know it's going to take more months in the future. But I could have it finished by now.
There.
It's because it's got no deadline. It hasn't got to be done. There's nothing forcing me. It's just taking months and months, where I could have probably finished it a couple of months ago, the thing that I'm working on. But I need the deadline.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? Right, this has got to be done by in your case, the
Yeah.
next 4 days,
Yeah.
I would get it done then.
Yeah.
But it's I need that. I need some kind of something finite to motivate me.
Yeah.
Basically,
Well,
if I
I
ever
think
went to the
it's
gym, I'd need someone to give me a kick up the arse.
right.
I couldn't. I
Yeah.
can't do the gym by myself.
Well,
It's
for sure.
weird.
Yeah. It's
I need
I,
a.
I've always grown up. My dad runs his own business, and my mum was very senior in a position. So I've always grown up with a lot of discipline, and discipline has helped me a lot in life. And when I don't want to do something, I do it anyway. I've always loved the gym. That's one example. Like I just go even when I don't. But the problem with that is my discipline can almost be manic. Maybe you or definitely somebody in the audience will be able to understand that when you ever start cleaning your house, sometimes you just do a quick little clean. Other times you start cleaning and then you start taking out drawers and you're emptying drawers and you're cleaning. You literally get into this manic state of, I'm going to clean everything in the house to the nth degree. And although I don't do that, but I have done in the past, I am like that now more than ever in life. And like, if I'm waking up at 5 o'clock, I want to pull every single bit out of every minute. And it's easy to say that. Some people will say that and they're like, oh yeah, I did that for a day or two, but it's been a year. It's been a year of pulling every single little bit of juice out of every single minute and every day. And it's funny, you say your motivation. Motivation, I don't know if motivation comes into it. It's just telling myself to do something and just diving into it head first.
You should consider, obviously, you probably enjoy it.
Enjoy
what you're doing.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of people say, "Oh man, I've got to do that thing, and I don't want to. I hate it." But
yeah,
good advice, right? Because I'm the type of person that will procrastinate forever, but I can kind of force myself. Right. It sounds to me like you're enjoying what you're doing. Right. You get into a flow of just getting everything done. With a little touch of OCD, possibly.
100%. ADHD.
Yeah,
honestly, OCD.
There's something there.
Manic. Yeah, if I
the manic.
Still for too long.
The manic thing that you mentioned. So I get this, and I don't think it's manic because I think that's. I'm not going to try and be a doctor and speak to you as a medical professional, but. Manic's like serious. That's a serious problem. That is.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's getting into the flow of doing what you're doing. Wait, and you kind of just switch off from everything else, and you're in like the zone. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Or you could be manic, and you could have a problem.
I don't want to label myself with any of this stuff. But the things that kind of appear to me, just kind of come to me over the years in my personality type. I drive everyone I know nuts. Every single person I know nuts because they just think I'm insane. Like from when I'm doing something, they say I'm going to do something and then I do it. But when I say I'm going to do it, they're like, "What, are you joking? That's not. You can't do that. That's not possible." I don't know. The thing is, it comes from just a very deep place within him. I think my girlfriend suffers a lot because I can push myself to do something that I don't like doing for as long as I physically can endure it, and it will make me full on run down into the ground and exhausted, physically, mentally, and then leave me depressed. So I rely on my girlfriend to guide my discipline and motivation, and in the right way. Otherwise, you can go misplaced and lead me down into places that I don't want to be.
Yeah, so the zone. You're that zoned. You're like, you're into whatever you're doing so much that it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah. And that's why I say manic, because it's a it just feels like a disregard for anything else that's going on in life, me, how I feel. doesn't almost come into the picture.
Zoned out completely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's hard to live with. I feel sorry for it. I genuinely do.
So for somebody else, right? So I understand where you're coming from with that. So that, like, I think that's you're finding some kind of flow with what you're doing, or you've obviously got a bit about your personality where you can completely zone out and do whatever you need to be done, and forget to eat, forget to fucking sleep, all that kind of stuff. I've done the same myself. But for somebody a bit more, who might be thinking, I need to do this particular thing,
Right.
and it could be anything, right? So I'll relate it to what I do. So I sell shit. So I need to pick, say, 10 orders, but I know at the back of my mind that the collection for those orders might be in 4 hours' time. This is just an example. So I don't really have to do it now.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't got to do it now, but if I can force myself to, like, do it early, and it could be anything, this is just an example, things don't take as long as what you think they're going to. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you might have in the back of your mind that you've got a big something to do that's like, oh, that's a pain in the arse. But if you actually get up, just somehow force yourself to get up.
Yeah.
Because a lot of this is the people's struggles, and not so much you as my personality type, the motivation. But if you can somehow force yourself to just get up and do that one thing, whatever it is, you might find that actually it only takes you a couple of minutes.
Yeah, well,
and it's not as difficult as you're making it sound to yourself in your own head.
It's mental because I have this thing when I wake up in the morning with it as like I have a huge to-do list in my mind from the second I wake up, and I just start doing it, and then I turn to my girlfriend and say, what's your to-do list today? And she go, I don't know. I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? Is there not? Do you not wake up thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do that? and just like you said about time, well, for some reason, something in me always says, you haven't got enough time to do the next thing on your to-do list.
Yeah.
And whatever, it could be anything. You haven't got enough time to wash them dishes over there. You haven't got enough time to drink that coffee before you have this podcast. Do you know what I mean? It's bonkers. Like you're talking to an insane person, but But
well, I was going to attempt to diagnose you with something earlier, but
no, but
definitely something there.
I wouldn't want other people to think that you'd have to be like I am in order to be able to achieve, your DIY projects, or even, doing your own extension. Yeah. Because I completed that extension in 6 months, and yeah, okay, there's a lot of background work and materials that were sourced, and the doing of it and the learning the skills and all that sort of stuff. But 6 months isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things. And when you think about it, say I saved, I spent to date, I spent about 9,000 something, 10,000, let's call it, on the extension to get it where it is. I saved at least £20,000 by building it myself, at least. Yeah.
I would guess a lot more than that.
Yeah, probably a lot more, but at least, like, the harshest critic would say 20,000. So, how long would it take you to save up or get a loan and pay back £20,000? It'd be a lot longer than 6 months, unless unless you got loads of money, and then you probably are building your own extensions anyway.
Yeah.
But, it's that time. That time versus,
I think your big thing is the time limit that you gave yourself. So if somebody wanted to follow in your footsteps and build an extension, my advice to them would be, don't give yourself a fucking time limit like Scott did. So they could plan. I suppose maybe the time limit does help, like we've just been saying. It forces you to do it. Like, shit, it's got to be done now.
Yeah.
But if somebody wants to take it on with zero experience, they've got they can contact you and look at your TikTok now, and whether they contact you or not, but they can at least copy off you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that gives that person, without the time pressure, they can just do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
and they don't have to worry about shit. Scott is talking about roof tiles and footings and drainage and clips and this and that and windows. Because if you try to watch your TikTok, it is a little bit like, wow, he's done all of this.
Bit
But
overwhelming
if
sometimes.
but if you break it all down, if you wanted to do it yourself, choose one thing,
Yeah.
concentrate on the one thing, get the
Yeah.
one thing done. And because you're doing it yourself, you've not got a builder saying, "Oh, you need this, that, then." And my day today was 250 quid, and if you don't,
Yeah.
and all whatever they do, you've not got that pressure. So if you're doing it yourself, you can concentrate on one thing at a time. And
Exactly.
this is what I try and advise people who are like, they can overwhelm themselves. And to be honest, the way you've just explained everything to me, I would say you're going to overwhelm yourself, but you can clearly deal with it.
It's just a step. It's literally a step at a time. It's like, and it sounds dead cheesy. And I say this to my girlfriend at the time, whenever we talk about anything that needs doing, I just say it's literally one brick at a time, just like the extension was.
It's good. It's good advice.
If you go out there and just say to yourself, so I say I did the extension in 6 months. If anyone else is going to do the same, well, start your extension early in the year. Say it's April because the weather's getting a bit better. May even. And then you've got longer to work on it before winter starts coming around and you need to have some sort of roof on it. So you've got even longer to do it than I did. I only had such a short amount of time because halfway through I realised that the drains were leaking and I needed to replace all the drain work in the property. So I dug up the whole drive and it just needed doing alongside the extension. It couldn't wait, so it had to be done. And then that cut my extension building time down by a month, probably, which was a valuable month of dry weather, for playing.
Yes, it was mad. So very recently, and I only know this right because I bought a new shed for the garden in, I don't know, August, sometime around then, because I wanted to clear some space in the garage. So I put all my tools in that shed. So I built the shed, and then I'm not like a weather, British people are famous for talking about the weather. I don't really do that. I'm like, yeah, whatever. But so I built this shed, and then I said to myself, right, when it stops raining, I'll put all my tools in the shed. And I'm not shitting you. It rained every single day for about 6 weeks.
Yeah.
So how did you? Because you were building your extension around about then, weren't you?
Mate, sometimes I just went out in the rain and just thought, I've got to fucking carry on working and hopefully it'll stop raining.
It's been mad. I can't believe if we get told that there's a drought or any kind, they're taking the piss because it's constantly rained for months.
Mate, I can remember like it was towards the end of the build. Oh, when was it? October maybe. And it was raining all the time, and I just needed to do the last few courses of brick before I put wall plate on and started the roof. And it just wouldn't relent. Like it was just constant mate all the time. So I literally just got on a plastic sheet, asked my dad to come round, so he could make things a bit quicker. So I haven't done this all by myself and paid anyone, but I've had my dad come round and help me pass me blocks when I need them and all that type of stuff. And my uncle passed me some blocks because when you're working on a scaffolding that's a cheap aluminium scaffolding, not a proper one, it's difficult to get your materials up there, keep the mortarboard full. So I have had some help, and I wouldn't advise anybody to go at an extension completely solo. There are things like the beams, for example. I asked the next door neighbour on the morning of the beam arrival, this thing weighs over 300 kilograms, knocked on his door, this big guy, and I said to him, do you mind just helping me lift this outside? And he did, and I had my dad and my uncle and the next door neighbour just helped me get this big beam down the driveway.
That's what you do, mate. There's always help along the way. I mean, family and friends.
No man is an island. But as I said, that's a saying, I think.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah.
So, materials-wise, I guess, have you got trade accounts now with some of the big boys?
I haven't.
I've
got no trade accounts. I have found, and it's ridiculous, and the pricing is where if you shop in like just an individual like specialist places like Insulation for Less, for example, they just do really great prices without a trade account. Maybe I could have tried to set up a trade account with these people. Screwfix would have been a good one. But the
Does
benefits
Screwfix even do a trade account?
they do, but there isn't really benefits. Toolstation.
I think Screwfix have always been an example of we just do good prices.
Yes.
And everyone gets the same. I think they might do something now. I'm not sure. They might do a 5 or 10% for certain spenders. I don't know.
They have deals on. They have deals on. But my ambition was to keep the costs as low as possible. So in some places, I try and get them reclaimed if possible. Like, for example, in my extension, there was like a little bit of an outbuilding built onto the back. It was really poorly built. It needed to be taken down. But the brick that we used was the same brick as the house. Fantastic. So now I can dismantle that extension, clean off the mortar, and then I will have a new extension built with the same bricks as the actual house. So there's nothing more in keeping.
Wow.
And they're nice. Imperial bricks are a nightmare to work with. Try learning bricklaying and then add a layer of complexity with imperial bricks on top of that. Oh, God. That was a stress. That was a big stress. But yeah, it's done now.
See, it's crazy to me because going on from what I was talking about with the reason social media attracts trolls and clickbait and all that shit is because that's clicks, that's money. So there's a lot of companies who are they're kind of invested in, and to be honest, the companies such as Facebook and whoever, Twitter and themselves, and whereas do Facebook still do it? I think they do. Whereas like they'll feed people arguments, so they're feeding you an argument. Like they want people to argue because it's more clicks, more eyes, more money, more adverts.
Yeah.
But what the companies, and this is, I'm gonna tag these companies, right? When I send this podcast out to the world, I'm gonna tag some companies on various social media because I think the likes of Wix and Homebase and B&Q, they should be all over you. Because no, seriously, because it's the ultimate DIY, and that's what they're DIY companies. That's what they advertise themselves as.
True.
You've created a community where I think 50,000 something people in your community, something like that.
Yeah.
There's a good chance. Yeah, it's a big number.
Every day.
It's a huge number, so there's a good chance that a large percentage of those people are thinking about doing what you're doing or something similar.
Perfect.
Working in the trade, wanting to build something, wanting to do some DIY.
Perfect.
These companies are crazy not to contact people like yourself rather than paying ridiculous amounts of money on marketing that might include clickbait, arguing, getting views, trying to connect with communities but not really being in them. There's little communities of people knocking about the internet, which is trade groups, yourself, and not many companies take advantage of it.
Do you think it'd be my responsibility to contact them?
Not really. No, if they've got you work in marketing, mate, they must be on TikTok.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? They must, in my opinion, know about these little communities that are popping up all over the place.
Yeah.
It wouldn't cost them too much to get in touch with you and say, listen, we'll sponsor you. No idea how much money it would make for people involved. But there's 50,000 people.
I kind of know.
Very targeted because they're interested in what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a very targeted 50,000 people to look.
Yeah.
They might say, but we reach 4 million. It's like, yeah, you reach 4 million, but only 4,000 of them actually give a shit. Do you know what I mean? And you've paid a fortune to reach those 4 million. I think they're definitely missing a trick. And once the marketing people and they start realizing that there can be money can be made within the small communities and the small groups that people are creating, that's when you'll stop seeing the clickbait.
For sure.
Because they'll start engaging instead and saying, "No, we're going to be part of your community. and there's nothing wrong with it. And
Yeah.
people know, like, if you were sponsored by Wix, say,
Yeah.
great. Scott's
Yeah.
making a little bit of money. He fucking deserves it. He's created a community.
It'd be nice.
He's made all these videos. But it's, in my eyes, it's a no-brainer for me because it won't cost Wix that much. But actually, they're reaching an audience there that's only going to keep growing.
Yeah, it's a niche audience, isn't it?
It's free.
It's completely dialed in. It's completely engaged.
Those genuine videos are much better than seeing a brand trying to engage by trying to copy off a genuine video. Your video is genuine. You'd be like, look, this is my wall, and then someone will join you in and say, did you know your wall's a bit wonky or whatever? And you'd be like, oh, fuck, no. Whatever. You didn't build a wonky wall. I'm just making that up. But you know what I mean, don't you? It's genuine. Well, it's genuine engagement.
I'm at the stage now with the build where the roof is on, and I need to post some more. I've got some more content updates to do. But this summer will be the kitchen install. There's a lot of like first fix electrics and floor and everything that needs sorting. But this summer will be kitchen.
And you're doing it yourself?
And I'm doing it all myself.
Right, I'm going to make it my mission, right?
Yeah.
I'll do everything within my power to try and get you a free kitchen.
Well,
and I'm going to tag Wix. Who else is that? Benchmarks. They make nice kitchens. Travis Perkins, Wren.
But DIY Kitchens is, I believe, the one. And I believe it because, I mean, look at the name. DIY Kitchen is a company that doesn't do the install. They don't have all of the showrooms like Wren and Howden's, but you design it all online to your own specification and your own measurements, and then it's all delivered, and then you pull it together yourself. And they're not as big as the other guys.
IKEA.
Yeah, they're not as big as the other guys, but DIY Kitchens has a great outlook on what the market should be like. You know, people used to put their own kitchens together; they still can, and I just think that I'm the right person to show the process of designing your own kitchen, ordering it, and then installing it.
Yeah.
So
I'm telling you, mate, I'll do everything within my power, which isn't that much. I'm not a powerful person, but I'll try everything within my power to. Because some of these companies, they literally do everything that you're doing.
Maybe we can get Andrew Tate to ask. And all you need is one word from him.
We don't need that. That's drama and controversy. We're talking about being nice to each other. We don't need to create divisions.
No.
So honestly, Wix is a good example because they will have sold everything that you've used. They will have sold, including a kitchen.
The tools are a big deal. I mean, you know, anyone looking to start a project like this needs to think about, the tools are going to make a big difference to how easy it is and how long you're going to spend doing it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got, I would say my tool collection to complete this entire project has cost around £1,500. That's it.
Wow.
That's all I've spent. Okay, I've hired a bit of equipment, so like I hired a genie lift to get the big beam up. I hired a whacker plate because I needed to get the ground flat. And that's it really. That's all you need.
Yeah. So even that, right? So I'm always thinking, because I think people who create content like you've done, you deserve to make some money from it because somebody somewhere makes money from things like this.
Yeah.
So you could put together. Listen, right? This is my DIY toolkit.
Sure. Yeah.
This is everything I needed. But then you need together with.
I'd love to do that. But the brand that I use, which is DeWalt, is the only brand I've really reached out to, and they don't work with influencers, or at least not influencers on my scale.
Yeah,
which is a shame. I think they associate themselves with like trade pros rather than DIYers. But you know, I wouldn't really want to work with anybody else on a tool basis, only because I know and trust what I've got.
Yeah.
If I knew and if I could use any other tools and try them out and see if they are good, you know, like Milwaukee, everyone raves about them. Never used one. Never used a Milwaukee tool. Or IOB. I've never used any of those, just you. But I would try them.
Yeah.
And then I'd be able to say if they're good or not. For sure.
the thing going through my mind as these companies, it doesn't have to be you specifically, but
Yeah.
why they don't. And you're not an influencer.
Yeah.
You're not.
Not in the
I
not
suppose.
in the usual sense.
Yeah, I suppose you are, but you're not. You're just this genuine guy who's doing his house up.
Mm.
And if you're creating content, people are enjoying watching it. It takes your time.
Yeah.
You deserve to make some fucking money from it, and whether and it's not. And I don't mean become a millionaire or anything like that.
Yeah.
But what I do mean is maybe possibly get something out of it yourself for all the hard work that you're putting into it.
Well, I'm surprised.
We'll see
and
what
I
we
don't
can
know if
do.
you know this, but TikTok actually pays you when your videos become viral. Did you know
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, but
I didn't.
it
I
has to
didn't
be
know that.
extremely viral.
Well, I've started getting paid.
Yeah.
Which was a really nice surprise.
Give us an example. Because I don't get million views and things like that. So give us an example. What do you get for a million views?
I don't know if it works out that way because they pay me daily, and I can't see how the daily analytics align with the amount of money that they pay. But you're looking at, like, let's say, I don't know why this number's stuck in my head, but it looks like on average it's between 60 and 70 pence a day. And it's constant though, it's every day.
For your stuff?
For my stuff.
So 70 pence a day.
Yeah.
And you've got multiple videos with over 1 million views.
Yeah. So it adds up. It does add up.
Can you imagine the people who've got multiple videos with over 1 billion views?
Well, I mean,
they're making decent money.
So I saw a TikTok from a creator who said that if you create your videos on TikTok, you've got one platform full of rich content. Imagine those videos blow up, they become viral, and then you're earning money from TikTok for those videos. Well, you can repurpose those videos on other platforms like YouTube Shorts, and you already know they're viral, you know that they're going to work out, and eventually you're going to have 3, maybe 4 platforms because of Reels and whatever that are then generating an income for you. So you've got like 4 income streams just off one piece of content.
Hard to create content though. You're great. Yours is things great. I guarantee you, right, that a lot of the companies that create content as a company, like big companies, they're trying to create what you're doing. So why they don't speak to people like you? Because you've almost got unlimited content now.
Yeah.
Because you've got all your videos that you've got so far.
Yeah.
Which is and they're great, and it's not even like you're being cynical and trying to make money. You just did it anyway.
No,
so you've got all these brilliant videos for a DIY audience that a DIY company could jump on. But then you've got your kitchen, and then I'm sure you'll move on to something else. And then you've created this brand. I fucking hate saying it, but you have. It's you. It's your personal brand.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something there, mate, for a company.
I mean, for me, we've got to this stage in the project and money is tight. The project, I don't want the project to slow down because of the finance side of it. And if I did have help from a brand, that would definitely help me speed things up and keep the content coming. But it's the tools. Like, I want to be able to render the extension myself. I want to show that there's a lot of people out there that have said, don't render it yourself. Get a professional in. And it's been in the back of my mind. I thought, okay, I'll get someone else to do it. And then it's eating away at me now. It's like, no, I'm going to wait for the weather to be good. I'm going to do it myself and just see what I can do, But you need tools for that. Yeah. And can't really afford those tools right now. Like a big mixer and the big skinning things and
But again, you've got. I mean, I genuinely think you could contact whoever I have no fucking idea who makes rendering tools, but I'm sure you do. You could contact them and say, listen, I've been doing this diary. Here's the link to it. I've got 60,000 followers, and I'm rendering next. Do you want to get involved?
I'll tell you why they don't do it. And this is I only know this because I'm a marketing manager. I run as part of my job. I run a team of influencers, and so I know what I'll pay them. I know what metrics we're looking for, And I know why businesses don't work with influencers, like me, or maybe even for big things like big tools, big power tools, is because on social media, it's an impulse purchase. People buy a product that's cheap and quick, like a tongue scraper because it costs £2, or
Yeah.
like a little fan that you
I
can
know what you
put
mean.
on your desk. Dead cheap, dead quick impulse
Yeah.
purchase.
Yeah.
I'm getting I don't know, an SDS or even like a Gigapix sort of thing from DeWalt. I've got a niche audience, but these
Yeah.
guys aren't going to just go and pay £400 for this piece of kit just off the back of one TikTok video.
But I think they
scale.
might. It's because they aren't just watching you for fun. They're watching you because they're genuinely thinking about doing it themselves. A lot of the
Fair
people,
play,
and there's, like I say, there's 50,000. A large percentage of that 50,000 are thinking about doing something similar to what you're doing. So even it's a big audience. That's a lot of people to have thousands and thousands of genuine potential customers. That's got to be lucrative to a brand. And the thing about Impulse, so the TikTok shop.
Yeah.
So it's kind of gathering pace a bit now in the UK. It's been around for over a year or about a year now. And it is impulse buys, you're right. So it's like, I don't know, crazy toys or cheap things but I can prove it a little bit wrong because I've been selling grout on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Grout isn't an impulse buy.
It isn't.
So and all it is, it's because I've got tilers or builders helping by making a video. And the only reason they've made a video is because they've used it and they like it.
Yeah.
And I've built these relationships with these people. So they're posting about it. They've got loads of followers. And their followers will be like, oh, I need to do some grouting. Where's that grout from? What is it? And that builder can then say, it's in my TikTok shop. And I give them a cut.
Yeah.
Everyone's happy.
Fantastic.
So it's like, I think TikTok shop, TikTok in general is, it's no secret. It's fucking huge, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous to the other ones.
Well,
and I think they might struggle to keep up with them because they're managing to, and I'm sure they'll do it even more, but they're managing to get everything within TikTok.
Yeah.
So it started off as short videos, and now it's little communities, and now you got like you can folder things away and file things away, and you got a bit of news. And actually, it's quite a pleasant place to be.
Yeah.
It's not toxic. No, not really. And now they've got the shop, which I'm sure they'll build on that. That will be pissing Amazon off. The other thing will be pissing YouTube off. And I'm sure that it's going to be difficult for others now to keep up with them.
Yeah. Well,
to try,
YouTube Shorts are pushing. YouTube Shorts are pushing their platform. So basically, now is a great time to start publishing on YouTube Shorts because you're going to get a lot more views than you will do in the future. Yeah. Because they're trying to compete with TikTok.
Yeah. I saw Mr. Beast. So my kids watch Mr. Beast, right?
He's ace.
The reason I like Mr. Beast, right, is because it's something that my kids can watch on YouTube, and he's just a nice guy. Seems like.
And that's ace.
And I was watching him, and he was talking about YouTube Shorts, but I think he's like a YouTube employee, so he would say nice things about it because that's his thing, isn't it? Well,
I didn't know that.
He's not, but everything he does is on YouTube.
Yeah.
He's YouTube's number one golden boy.
Yeah.
But he was saying like they're actually offering more money, which is the main thing. So he says you're going to see a lot of influencers switching to YouTube because they're actually trying to make it more lucrative for them.
Well, I mean, I could benefit from that myself. I can see why they do it. I can see. So like, it started off as a journal and now it's a community, and I love the community side and helping people and all that sort of stuff. But it gets to a point where, like doing all this stuff is costing me a lot of money. And I actually, I don't even need to make money off it. I just need to offset some of the costs somewhere.
No, make some money, mate. So I've had the same conversation with someone else that runs a Facebook group.
Right.
And it's a very British mentality, right? You'll never hear an American saying what you've just said. If you're doing something, right? People enjoy consuming it. You're curating it. You're doing work. You're making the videos. People are enjoying watching them and looking at them. There's no problem whatsoever if you can figure out a way of making money from that.
True.
And even if that ends up being your job, and you make it pay, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's fine.
As long as what I'm doing is moral in the way that, you know, I'm not promoting products that are no good or too expensive.
Well, you wouldn't, would you? Because
I wouldn't.
You're actually doing stuff. It's your stuff. And then you're being honest about things. And if you ever stopped being honest, people would stop watching it anyway.
Exactly. That's
so you wouldn't make any money then anyway.
And that's where the success for the account comes from. It is all organic and honest. So you're
exactly.
Right.
It's genuine. And I'm telling you, the big companies are going to try. They already do. They try to make things look organic, and they can't because they're not. You can't make something look organic that just isn't.
Yeah, it's true.
I think that they need, and I'm sure they do. I mean, I'm not a marketing expert, but they need to start getting involved with the little communities and the little groups because they're not so little. When you've got 50,000 people who are, a lot of them are thinking about doing something that's relating to your business, and all of a sudden you've got 10,000 customers.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you they don't get 10,000 customers by doing a normal TV advert.
For sure, yeah.
So it's definitely there from. I'm going to try and help you somehow, but I don't know how. I'll just spam everybody on LinkedIn probably. So have a look at this guy.
Thank you. I mean, if this is going to be posted, I'll also share this on my networks as well. For sure. Yeah,
eventually, mate. Honestly, if you just keep doing it, and I guarantee you, there's celebrities that do what you're doing, and so the guy that used to be in Big Brother, the guy from Liverpool, Craig, him and his missus now are something DIY, but they're just sponsored by Every Man and His Dog.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, they've got a page. I can't remember what they call themselves. It's something DIY though, and he's good, and he does work about the house, and he does his job, but it's so obviously sponsored by X, Y, and Z, whereas yours is far more genuine.
See,
You're not Craig from Big Brother, do you know what I mean? But
I don't want to get to that.
That's why they've hired him.
Place. I don't want to get to that really sponsored place, you know, where the content stops feeling as organic. But you know, well, I just have to see where it goes, won't we?
Just keep doing it, mate, because it's your thing that you're doing anyway, and it'll just keep growing. Trust me.
Yeah.
And if by just doing your own thing you figure out a way of making money from it, that's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in it. And it's the same thing I said to the guy that runs the big Facebook group, because, like I say, if we were in America, people would be like, yeah, get some advertisers, make some money, but but because we're British, we're like, he's making money, he's on the take. I'm like, what? He's not on the take, is he? He's doing some work.
Yeah.
And he's getting paid for it, and that's just the way of the world these days. But yeah, I'll try and help if I can, possibly. So, living in and renovating a house. How, with a pregnant wife, she's had the baby now, but I've seen what you had to live with. How was that? How did you find that? You have a patient wife.
Patient, she is being an absolute dream. And I mean, I guess I feel a bit guilty for having put her through all this. But I also say, you know, it's character building. One day we're going to look back on this and laugh, and we're going to be, you know, wherever we are in life, in whatever house we're in, when it is done, we'll look back on this time as as good memories. You know, when you're talking to your mates, you always tell you the bad stories, don't you? The time you almost got caught or fell off a wall or something like that. And this is one of those stories that we'll talk to each other about for the rest of our life.
Yeah, renovate it. You'll probably do it again. You'll probably move and do it again because you're mental.
But would I live in a house when it was just us and she was pregnant and it wasn't too bad, we could cope.
Yeah.
But now we've got Sydney, who's one, and he's moving around a lot. And
too dusty.
It's dusty, that's one thing. But a renovation house is also dangerous. You can clean up and tidy up as much as you like, but, you know, it only takes one, you know, those the nails. I don't even know the name of it. This is the extent of my DIY knowledge. The grippers that we put the carpet into at the
Yeah.
edge of a room.
Yeah.
Well, we've removed the wall inside the house, and the grippers were there, and we've removed the grippers, but the hammered nails into the floor to hold the grippers in place. It only takes one of those tiny little nails to be stuck up, and for Sydney to walk over it, or one of us, and it's A&E job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's always going through my mind.
Yeah, it's not possible. I would love to do it if we could afford, but the only way I'd ever do it is if we could not live in it for a while.
100%.
But it's money. You need a lot of money to put up, so you can carry on living in the house that you're in now.
Yeah.
But
I've got this vision in my mind of what I want my life to be looking like, and I don't want anything to get in the way of that. I don't want to stop at anything. But it comes to a point where, just because I'm happy to live with it doesn't mean my girlfriend is, or even it's safe for Sydney. So I have to take that into account.
Yeah. Did you have a budget when you started?
Yeah, I did. So we decided. So when we bought the house, we saw how much it was and what needed to be done to it. And when I did that, when we saw the house and what the works that needed to be done, I made a Google spreadsheet. I put down all the work, and then I tried breaking down that work into a material list. It's anal. I know it's a weird thing to be doing unless you're a housing developer. But I did it.
I'd do it.
And it took me a long time, and I did it. And I'm glad I did it. And I set the budget, and I was really happy with it. But then the materials tripled in price halfway through the build.
Yeah.
Because of, I don't know what was going on in the world, COVID, China, shipping issues, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So what happened was, the material list was getting further and further away from reality, and the bank account was just getting tighter, smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think I originally set something like, for the whole project, including kitchen install, 25k, and that's just materials. The only tradesman I've had in on this entire project was somebody to put in a new boiler because of the gas. I wouldn't touch gas, and I don't really do any plumbing either, because my view on, gas, I mean, you'd have to be registered. Plumbing, if you get it wrong, then your nice new plastered walls are going to be soaked if you get one little thing wrong. So then the cost outweighs the benefit. And then when it comes to electrics, a couple of years ago, I decided to do an electrical course to be a qualifying electrician. And that was just before lockdown. In fact, I finished it when lockdown just started. I didn't know if I was going to go into the trade with it. And I just did it because it was something that interested me. I just thought, how do electrics work in a house? And I need to know. So I did it, and then it's kind of just sat there. And then when I came to this house, I thought, oh, I can put that knowledge to the test. So I did it. I rewired the whole house, but then had an electrician come in to certify all the works before I plasterboarded it in, so you could see all the connections and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't realise you'd done that as well. You've done a lot, mate.
It is
so budget-wise,
a lot.
Excuse me. How much do you think it would have cost just to get someone else to do it?
Everything up to date.
Yeah.
So that's new boiler.
So 25k you've spent.
Yeah. So 25k spent. Let's just call it round numbers. It's very close to 25k I've spent so far, and that's a new boiler, full house rewire, plastered almost every room apart from the hallway and the new kitchen. But I have plastered that myself, so it's just a lot of materials really. The only room I didn't plaster myself was Sydney's nursery because it was a time thing. Needed someone in quick because baby was going to get bored. It was going to be bored, so it needed to be done. Then there's so rewire, flooring, decor, carpets, all that type of stuff, and then the salon. Salon costs around £5,000, and that's fully insulated and built and everything. That's paintwork, screws, everything, including that price. And if I had somebody in to do it, the salon I got some crazy quotes on. You're looking at, even best case scenario, £50,000 to build that salon. Best case, because it doesn't have any water in it, but it has electrics. So it's still like a garage, essentially an insulated garage. But it's that's about £15,000. Boiler, if you have someone to do that, it's about £3,000, isn't it, to put a boiler in? But then there's the pipe work for the bathroom installs, yourself as a tiler. And I did all the tiling myself. You're looking at a full bathroom install with about £6,000. So yeah,
which is cheap anyway.
Which is
£6,000 sounds cheap.
No, that's it. That's labour, not just
yeah.
materials.
Oh right, okay, yeah.
So then there's the materials on top of that, and so you're looking at maybe 10 grand for a whole new bathroom into materials as well. So I've saved a lot of money. I've at least saved, and then there's the extension. So I've at least saved myself, I think, 40 grand so far. That's
possibly more, because of labour and things go wrong, and then extra time with different trades that you need to bring in. So
that's conservative.
I think you've saved, at least 40 grand, at least. Yeah. And the thing about, you haven't actually saved it, you've made it.
Yeah. I could get that.
You haven't saved the money, you've just increased the value of your house by that amount, or more even.
Yeah. Well,
so your time's been invested wisely.
I won't give numbers, because obviously some information is private, but I did call the bank about about the mortgage I've got, and the current value of it came into conversation of the house, and they told me the current value of the house based on the inflated prices because the market was still going up, and just that was higher than I bought it for by something like 20 grand, which blew my mind. And then if I added everything else on top of that, they say when you're younger, don't they, that you need to get on the property ladder as soon as possible because it's one of the best ways of, building your wealth or whatever it is. Never believed it. I just
the best thing with property is exactly what you've done. Buy something that's maybe not as attractive to the majority of people that are looking at it, and you can make thousands of pounds. But it's not making it because you're sitting on it basically. Yeah. But you can get a really good investment quite quickly just by doing a little bit of work.
But you can come undone very quick by doing it for financial gain. And I say that because, like you just said, you sat on it.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're going into buying houses and renovating them for financial gain, I'd think again quite quickly, because it's not that good of a deal at the end of the day. You can get a job that's much easier, less time consuming, that pays you a lot more money.
Yeah, there's very experienced people who know what they're doing with regards to property.
You've got to.
It sounds easy, doesn't it? Like we could say, when we bought this house, we only really needed do this, and this, and then we could have made this much money. But it doesn't work like that. It's not as simple as that. There's lots
I'm not
of things
somebody who believes in just quickly flipping a house. Just to, like, for example, there's so many corners I could have cut with this house in order to have gained more value of the house because the things are still there. But all the underneath, it's like painting gloss on top of rust. That's not me. I like to take everything back to bare metal, prime it up, and then put a nice gloss over it.
I'm with you. Yeah, it's yours though, isn't it? It's, to be honest, even if I think it's definitely pie in the sky, because even if I was a property developer, I would be the same. I'd make it'd be nice. I'd leave it nice, but then you're like, well, you spent 10 grand when you could have spent 3.
Yeah,
so you could make it nice.
I don't know. I have a responsibility. Some people don't care whatsoever, but I feel like I have a responsibility to the next person who takes the house on. You know, that
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's pride, mate.
it's
There's a
pride.
lot of things. I don't know how people sleep at night. A lot of the things that I see,
It's
and one
crazy.
of them would be that, like landlord style, landlord special, as you see, landlord special.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know how they sleep at night. They're just wankers. They've probably got loads of money, and like they'll say, "Yeah, I'm a businessman." It's like, well, not really. You're an arsehole.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
might
Yeah.
make a lot of money, but whatever. So yeah, your costs. So I see a lot of people asking, how much does it cost? So your posts that actually you actually you title the post quite well. The ones that have got cost on them, they're quite popular, aren't they? Because people are
Yeah.
desperate to know
Yeah.
how much did that
Money's
bit
a big
cost?
deal. Money's a
Yeah,
big deal for everyone.
yeah. So it's all there if people want to see it. Would you do it? Would you do it again with everything that you know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
100%. I'm addicted, and honestly, next time I want to do something really special. I want to do something really, 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 really beautiful. I follow. I get so excited at the idea of building something, just using real stonework like the buildings used to be made. Just making something. The thing is you need the right land or you need the right property, and it all has to be in keeping. And you can't just add some beautiful grand building to a property. It just doesn't make sense. That doesn't suit it.
yeah,
So these dreams might be way off into the future. But I'd love to make something beautiful. Something
I'm
really
sure you will,
beautiful.
mate. I
The
said the
day,
same after we'd done this one, but I haven't done what you were definitely different to me because I would definitely have to hire people again. I was like, yeah, we'll do this again, but you don't. You
yeah,
get into your family and shit gets in the way, and you're like, but
yeah.
I think genuinely you could,
Well, I
and
can't
it
wait
sounds
for
like you would.
I can't wait for Sydney to be old enough. As soon as he's old enough, as soon as he can start passing me bricks and making up mortar
That's not
mixes.
yet, mate.
I know. There's a few years between now and then.
Would you offer yourself as a project manager or something if somebody asked?
No, because I'm not part of I'm not part of that world. I'm not
Why not? Of course you are.
uh, I don't,
You proved it.
I've got, I've got some experience,
Yeah.
but I don't actually have, I don't even know if you need qualifications for the things that I'm doing. Um, I don't know. Don't know.
I can
Maybe.
guarantee you'd be a lot more capable than a lot of people who think they're more capable with 20 or 30 years experience, just
Okay.
purely because of the research that you've done. The hours that you've put in on research and actually doing stuff,
Right.
that is years and years and years worth of...
If you can't get excited about it, you can't make yourself too quick. I would say most people
Yeah.
would feel that way. And you've just got to tell yourself that when you're researching drains, this is exciting.
Excellent, mate. I think we've covered everything, but do you want to tell everybody? Actually, we keep talking about your TikTok, but we haven't actually said what it's called. If you tell people what your TikTok and your YouTube or whatever else you want them to look at is called, and
Yeah,
then I'll include all of that within the notes as well.
yeah. It's so I've only really got one primary channel at the moment, and it's TikTok, and it's Scott_DIY.
Yeah,
And I'm starting a YouTube channel, shorts only at the moment. But I do hope to, maybe in the summer next year, start pulling out some long form content. I just hope people can get some value from it. Really, it's a
I'm
time
sure they will.
thing.
Yeah,
But those are the only two channels I've got at the moment.
pretty big ones, mate. That's probably all you need.
Yeah,
The two biggest
for
by a
sure.
mile.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're done, mate. Anything else you want to tell people about what you're up to or what you're going to be up to?
Just that the renovation and the extension has all come together now. The external of the extension is built. Now we're working on the internals, which is getting the floor ready, underfloor heating, electrics, lighting, installing a kitchen, and just making this house a real home for me and my family.
Cool. I'll get you back on when you finish, maybe.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
So
Even
then
if we
can,
just have a chat, that's fine.
Yeah, that's good, mate. Thank you very much, mate.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it. I genuinely enjoy looking at your TikTok. So thanks very much for coming on.
That's been an absolute pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
Cheers, mate.
All right, cheers.
Bye bye.
See you.